Uruguay are the biggest dark horse of World Cup 2022. Yes, that is right. Today, my name is Eric, as always, and we are back talking about the Qatar World Cup. Today is Uruguay, and yes, this is a country that has loads of history in the World Cup. We're going to get into that, and I'm going to be telling you why they are the biggest dark horse in this tournament. Let's get straight into it. So Uruguay hosted and won the first ever World Cup in 1930. This was the start of this big event. Then they did not participate in the following two and then came back and won it again before making 2018 drawn into the hosts group. Uruguay, Russia, Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and they made it to the quarterfinals. Beat Saudi Arabia and Egypt both 1-0 before they thrashed Russia 3-0 and then played Portugal, and Edinson Cavani put on a masterclass, if you know what I'm saying, like one of those games. 2-1 victory before they lost to the eventual champions France. So, this is a team with a lot of pedigree, we can see that. But now, we need to talk about qualification, because that was a difficult process for Uruguay, especially because for 3/4 of it, they were under the management of the now sacked manager after 15 years, Oscar Tavares. And now they have Diego Alonso, who's a lot better of a manager. Uruguay started the campaign in a disastrous fashion. Well, I mean, not the first game. The first game, 2-1, lucky last-minute winner from Maxi Gomez. However, then, 4-2 loss to Ecuador. Then they did come back to win Colombia 3-0. I was very sad by that. In Colombia as well. However, then it went downhill. At home, 2-0 loss to Brazil before a 0-0 draw to Paraguay and a 0-0 draw to Venezuela. Things were not looking good. And then a 1-1 draw against Peru confirmed the fears of a lot of Uruguay fans. Then a 4-2 victory in Bolivia was a lot better, and Marcelo Moreno scored the goals for the Bolivians. However, De Arrascaeta's double, Agustin Alvarez and Fede Valverde made Uruguay win 4-2. Then a 1-0 victory against Ecuador, last-minute winner. F.U. Gaston Pereiro scoring the winner. A draw to Colombia, 0-0. So again, scoring problems, you can see. They don't score a lot of goals. Then a 3-0 battering to Argentina. That was not good. And then, yet again, a 4-1 battering to Brazil. That was very, very bad. And then another loss to Argentina, 1-0. Things were looking dire trouble. And then they even confirmed their fears after a 3-0 loss to Bolivia. After this, they said, Tavares out. He was gone. Tavares was gone. They replaced him with the 47-year-old Uruguayan manager Diego Alonso, who was managing at Inter Miami before that. He started off amazingly. 1-0 victory against Paraguay, 4-1 against Venezuela, 1-0 against Peru, 2-0 against Chile. He won them all the qualifiers since he joined, and it was a much more successful end to the campaign than the beginning and the middle, and they finished in 3rd place, ahead of Ecuador, Chile, Colombia, Peru, all that, behind Brazil and Argentina. So, this is a team that have only lost one game since Diego Alonso was appointed, and it was a friendly to Iran as well. So, all the competitive games, they deal with them. And Alonso is a fantastic manager. I mean, he's just amazing, the way he's been able to turn around some of these players, and he combines veteran and youth perfectly. In goal, let's talk about the players and the squad. In goal, I think it will be either Muslera or Rochette. He's been giving the nod to Sergio Rochette, so I think he might start. Right back, due to the injury to Ronald Araujo, I think it will be Martin Cáceres. Then at centre-back, Jose Jimenez from Atletico Madrid and Diego Godin, the Atletico Madrid legend. Left-back, Matias Oliveira from Napoli. Stunning season for him and the club. They're doing really, really well. I think he'll be hyped for the World Cup. Midfield, I think they should go with a 4-4-2, sort of, or a 4-2-4. Midfield 2, I'd go Bentancur, 100%, and either Vecino or Torreira. I would go Torreira, personally. Then, I would like to see this front four, because it would just light up the competition. And it would, however, have to leave the likes of Facundo Pelistri, the likes of Nicolas de la Cruz, the likes of De Arrascaeta, Georgian De Arrascaeta. All these guys would have to be on the bench to leave this front four to master it. On the right, Real Madrid's very own Federico Valverde. Absolutely fantastic season. 14 games in La Liga, 6 goals, 2 assists. He has been Real Madrid's best player this season by far. He has been outrageous. And I think he can translate that sort of form to the World Cup. He's 24-year-old now, so he's not a kid anymore. He can put this country on his back. Liverpool's Darwin Núñez, 23 years old, and he is really hitting form right now. 5 goals and 1 assist. He has been on a blinder, okay? And then a front two, people will say it's a risk to play these two both because of the age. I don't care. When you have two geniuses in Luis Suarez and Edinson Cavani, they will work it out. And Cavani's been on amazing form as well for Valencia. So that would be the team that I think Uruguay could go for. And, yeah, it's a good team. It has its weaknesses, but it's a very good team. So, let's talk about the manager. We've mentioned a bit about him before, Diego Alonso. He instills a lot of confidence in me if I was a Uruguay fan. I just think much more than Oscar Tavares. He's a big improvement, and I think he can get these Uruguay boys going for the World Cup. As we mentioned, this is a team with pedigree. This is a team with the youth, the veterans, the skill. And that ending to qualification just gives me ideas that Uruguay are going to pop off at this tournament. And no one's talking about them. No one's putting them in the same conversation as Argentina, Brazil, Spain, Germany, France, Belgium, Netherlands, all these. They think Uruguay's a tier below. They are not. And trust me, when you see my World Cup predictions, you'll see I have them going very far. However, today I will be just predicting the group stage. However, before we get onto the predictions, Uruguay does have its weaknesses. Number 1, some of the back line. Diego Godin and Martin Cáceres are very old, and if you play them, pace could be an issue. So that isn't weakness number 1. Weakness number 2, the midfielders. Bentancur's been good, but I don't know whether Lucas Torreira is going to be ready. I mean, playing at Galatasaray, has he still got it in him, you know, from his Arsenal days, from his Atletico Madrid days? Not sure. We'll find out at this World Cup. I mean, you do have likes of Manuel Ugarte, who can potentially play. He plays for Sporting doing very well this season. However, how far can Uruguay go? So, today we're going to be doing just the group predictions, predicting just the group. And the group is Uruguay, Portugal, Ghana, and South Korea. And I think that, let's just get this straight. I think that it's an interesting group. However, I'm going to be real with you. 4th place, South Korea. 3rd place, Ghana. 2nd place, Portugal. And Uruguay are going to top this group. I'm telling you, everyone's going for Portugal, but Diego Alonso's men are going to be up for it. And put my prediction on screen because it's going to come back to this when it happens. Uruguay to absolutely do it. They beat Portugal 4 years ago at the World Cup. Their team has strengthened so much since then, with the likes of Valverde and Darwin Núñez. I'm telling you, be ready. Uruguay could advance very far into this competition. It has its weaknesses, but the strengths are crazy. They, look, they in the recent friendlies beat Canada, beat Panama, lost to Iran, drew to the USA, whacked Mexico. Mate, they're ready. They are ready to do something big at this World Cup. They've won the World Cup twice before, been in the semi-finals a further 3 times, I believe. They are ready. And I'll see you guys soon.